Certainty of death, small chance of success. What are we waiting for?
Fellas, I feel this is my lucky day.
Brilliant.
Hey, and welcome to another episode of Rankum. This is going to be a fun one today. We're talking about top 12 movies from actors to directors. And it is going to be, I've got a fun panel. I've got Richard. Richard, how's it going?
It's going good. Happy to be back. It's been a while since I've been on. This is a fun topic, and when you asked me to come on, I'm like, yeah, this will be fun.
Also here we've got JD. JD, how's it going?
Hey, yeah, I'm also thrilled to be here. It's also been a little bit. Last time I did the Schmodown matches, I had a lot of fun doing that. So, and this one too, I've had a lot of fun coming up with movies that come up with this list.
But we may have another person pop up at some stage. I decided we're not going to wait too long for him because who knows how it'll be if. But that being said, Richard, what's the first movie you're going to bring up?
I'm going to start off with this one. I'm going with Jon Favreau's Chef. There have been a few food movies I've seen about food, like cooks and stuff. Some of them have been really funny, some of them have been good, but Chef is surprisingly a really good movie. It's a very rewatchable movie. I think Jon Favreau performance in this is amazing. Scarlett Johansson has like a quick little small role. John Leguizamo's in this movie. He's really good. It's a very heartwarming movie. It's very rewatchable, and I barely enjoy it.
JD, what do you say about Chef?
Yeah, I love Chef. It's actually it's one of my. It's definitely on my short list. I love Chef. I feel like it's a fun time. The food, it's just every time I watch that movie, I just I want that food now. I just want to go to a Cuban truck and have some sandwiches. So yeah, it's definitely I would put it in.
I'm absolutely going to say yes to Chef. I love this movie. This is one that I saw for the first time last year and was just pleasantly surprised by it. So yeah, Chef does make the list. And I actually realised I didn't actually explain how the show works beforehand, but basically we go around, people throw out movies. Everyone else says yes to it. We've just demonstrated how it works. So, yeah. JT, what's the first movie you're going to throw out?
I got two words. Dioneters. Oh, I'm sorry. I mean The Wonders. Yes, I'm going to be talking about That Thing You Do by Tom Hanks, his directorial debut. I'm a 90s kid, so this was just a little bit of background. My household, a lot of the movies that I watched as a kid, they were what you call average fest, really middle of the road. This is one of the few films with some kind of acclaim behind it that we actually all really, really liked. So the music is fantastic. I think Tom Hanks does a really good job with it. Steve Hahn, great one-liners. This movie is fantastic. I really love this movie.
But yeah, a small plug on Take 3. There is a episode called The Movie Fandom Show in which they did cover That Thing You Do, so it's there somewhere on the channel. But yeah, I just saw That Thing You Do for the first time this year. I think it's fine. But in saying that, I don't have a problem saying yes to it. It is a charming movie. So yeah, Richard, what do you say about that thing you do?
Is it already on the list, or is it on to me? Or
Yeah, no, it's already on the list.
okay, well, I mean, I had it on my list as well. It was one of my not necessarily it's like honorable mentions. It's a good movie, but it's a movie that I always forget. Like I haven't gone to it in a long time. It's a good movie, so I can understand it, and I probably would have leaned towards yes a little bit. More yes than no, just because I enjoyed the movie, but it's a movie I haven't seen in a long time. It's a good film.
Yep. It's on to me. I'm going to go for one that has been mentioned in the chat already, and it is Argo by Ben Affleck. This is a good movie. Like the fact he wasn't nominated for Best Director that year is still weird to me.
Yeah.
But the movie still got one Best Picture, which is like, ha. But anyway, Argo's on the table. Richard, what do you say about Argo?
A lot of people might not like me for this, but I really love this movie. It's a very rewatchable movie as well, and it's a definite yes for me. I don't know if it should have won Best Picture, but he should have at least been nominated for Best Director for that.
Yeah,
but it's a great film. I enjoy it a lot, so it's a yes.
Makes the list. JD, what do you say about Argo?
It seems like we have pretty similar lists because this was also on my list, so it's definitely a yes for me. Me and maybe a mutual acquaintance, to say the least, Chad. Me and him, actually, we have a lot of back and forths. This is one of them. He says this movie is like, and I'm like, are you nuts? The tension in this movie alone, the fact the way that this film builds tension, I think, is amazing, and I definitely. It was weird that he didn't get nominated for Best Director. It is one of the weirdest things that I ever happened since I've been watching the Oscars.
But with that, in very perfect timing, is our next person, Kirk.
Hey, what's up?
No, not much. Just to recap what's already on the list for you, because don't know if what's in the private chat already is you can see. But so far we've got Chef, That Thing You Do, and Argo.
Okay.
And we are on you for your next movie.
Okay. My first pick would be Lady Bird from Greta Garbo. Greta Garbo, I said. Greta Gerwig. Yeah, sorry, I just get caught up, guys. Yeah, I think this is I love this movie, just in general. But I think it's just a great debut from her. I think she. I think if you watch like Frances Ha, which she starred in some of her early stuff, you just see like the germ of this movie in that, and it's just such a perfect and like nuanced and detailed coming of age movies, where so many of those are kind of just very surfacey and kind of you don't get a lot of like depth of characters, depth of story with this one. You do. I just think it's a fantastic movie. And when you brought this topic up, is the first thing I thought about. But yeah, this one I know that if Cody Newberry's watching, he's going to be screaming, no. But I'm saying yes, I love Lady Bird. I think it is a fun coming of age movie. And yeah, Richard, what do you say about Lady Bird?
Yeah, I actually was not thinking of that movie, but it's a good movie. So yeah.
JD, what would you have said about Lady Bird?
I would have said no, only because I prefer another Greta Gerwig film as opposed to Lady Bird. But it's a good movie, so I don't have an issue with it being on the list. I'm just thinking about how many we've gone through so far, and we've only been on for 10 minutes. So that's why I was going to lean towards no for that one. But again, it's a good movie. I'm not going to, it's not going to.
I mean, it's one of those ones, like, especially once we start getting a lot of spaces taken, then it's going to get harder later on. But Richard, what is the next movie you're going to bring up?
Well, let's see how well this is going to go. He's not a great person, but Braveheart's still a freaking good movie. Mel Gibson. I love Braveheart, and it's a still classic movie to this day. So Braveheart.
But JD, what is your thoughts on Braveheart?
Again, this is going to be. It's going to be partly due to the fact we have few. As said, we're now already through 4, and we already have 4 things on the list. That's like a third of the 12 lists taken. And also, when it comes to Mel Gibson,
he may be a terrible person, but you can't deny that.
Even this movie, like, to me, this is partly to do with the fact I saw this film later than most people. Like, so I have no nostalgia for it, and I think the accents are just come across very, very cheesy. And again, just due to the amount of spots and everything else, and how I feel, there are a lot of other films on my list that I prefer over Braveheart. I would say no.
But yeah, I just simply haven't seen this. This is one I was meant to watch this week, but then I saw on Netflix there's a couple other ones that I really wanted to watch that fit this. So it is all on you, Kirk. Does Braveheart make the list?
Yeah, definitely. For a long period of time back in the 90s, it's my favorite movie. This is a great epic. It's definitely not a perfect movie. I watch it now, I see its flaws, but it's very well made. A lot of great performances in it, and regardless of what you think about Gibson, I think it's still really solid.
So Braveheart is going to be on this list. JD, what is the next one you're going to bring up?
Who left the fridge open? I'm going to go Tropic Thunder. Ben Stiller's Tropic Thunder. This is another personal pick. When I first saw this movie, it had me from the trail, like the fake trailers, Robert Downey Jr. is amazing. He should have won. I don't care what anyone says. He should have won Best Supporting Actor for the role. There's no way you could make that film today, but I still, the humor still holds up. I really enjoy this movie.
Yeah, I've said on many different ranking episodes already my views on Tropic Thunder. I don't like this movie. I think it's fine, but it's definitely not laugh out loud funny as what everyone thinks. I'm saying no. Kirk, what do you say about Tropic Thunder?
Yeah, I'd say no to this one as well. It's just Ben Stiller. I've said this a lot too. Ben Stiller is just not my type of comedy. I'm not a fan of his comedic performances or his directing, really. I mean, I don't think it's terrible, but I really don't think it's great either.
Richard, what would you have said about Tropic Thunder?
I mean, it's one of those things where I really enjoy Tropic Thunder. However, when we're doing the top 12 best movies by director, it's a funny movie, but there are other movies by actors who are directors who are actors that are better than this movie, even though I love Tropic Thunder to death. And I mean, I think there are other movies. I think even Ben Stiller directed another movie that was ideally better than Tropic Thunder, movie-wise.
Yeah.
So
it's on me. Yeah. But it's on me. I'm going to go for a fairly recent one, but this is one that sort of came out of nowhere. No one knew what to expect. But this is A Quiet Place, directed by John Krasinski. Like this movie, the way this is directed and all that, the way it's essentially a silent movie in modern times, and the way you just don't expect the twists and turns in this movie to happen. I can't wait to see part 2 at some stage. It has just finally been released, but yeah, it looks good. Kirk, what do you say about A Quiet Place?
This is tough. This is one for me that I was kind of on the borderline with. I wasn't sure if I would have brought it up or not. I really like it. I think it's really good. Because it is newer, I don't know if it's stood the test of time that some of these other movies have. But it is. You know what? I want to say yes, and I'll let the other two, make the final call on it. I'll take advantage of not being last.
Richard, what do you say about A Quiet Place?
It's on JD because I haven't seen the movie.
JD, what do you say about A Quiet Place?
So this is what I'm going to say. It's on my list. It's on my list of 20. Where it fits, I'm not sure. But that being said, I do feel like I have to give it credit for somebody who is not as into horror as he is into other genres. This is a movie. This is one of the kind of horror movies I really, really like. I just saw A Quiet Place 2, by the way, too. I went Thursday night. I had my first Thursday night in years. I mean, I know we're not talking about this right now, but like, if the third one is as good as the first two, you're going to have a brilliant trilogy on your hands. So it's a yes for me. It's a yes for me.
And A Quiet Place does make this list. And with that, we move on to Kirk.
Okay. And I haven't missed the beginning of the show, Malcolm. What rules exactly did we set as far as how much of an actor versus a director they have to be? Like, is there a...
Yeah, I mean, this is one we talked about. We did talk about Kevin Smith. I mean, I think typically the rule I said is they had to be prolific as an actor sort of before they moved into directing. But yeah,
okay. I think this guy makes the cut then, and tell me if not, I'll make a different pick. But this is someone who definitely in their early career was much more known as actor. Nowadays, more known as director. Still acting, but gets more accolades for the directing. And that's Clint Eastwood. And he's done a lot of good movies, directed a lot of really solid movies. I'm going to go with my favorite, his though, Unforgiven. I think this is a great revisionist Western. I think it's just a beautifully told story about people and, their expectations of life and what life actually is and coming to terms with that. I think Eastwood brings all his years of experience in that genre and kind of like ties a bow on that with this movie. So I think he was the perfect director for it. I think he was a great star, and he's great in it. Everybody else is great in it. So that's my pick, Unforgiven.
Richard, what do you say about Unforgiven?
I have not seen Unforgiven. I'm not huge into Westerns, but I heard the movie's really good. So, I mean, I'll say yes on what so many people have said it's so good. Just, even though I haven't seen it, I will give it credit where credit is due. Because I haven't heard a bad thing about it.
JD, what do you say about Unforgiven?
Here, this is going to be... I'm going to preface my comments. I am not a Clint Eastwood person. I admit he's a great director. And of the films that he has directed, this is actually one of the ones I actually like. But generally speaking, I am not a Clint Eastwood person. And again, we now have 6 spots already taken. Half of it's gone. I have to say no.
But yeah, this is one that I watched for the first time last year. I'm also not a big Westerns guy, but I really loved Unforgiven. This is an absolute yes for me, so it makes the list. Richard, we go back to you.
This is going to be tough. I'm going to go with someone who co-directed a movie, and it's probably considered one of the best musicals of all time. I'm going with Singing in the Rain. Gene Kelly and Debbie Reynolds are phenomenal in this film. This movie is phenomenal. I don't know how you feel about co-directors, but he did direct. Gene Kelly did co-direct this movie, and I just think it still holds up as one of the greatest musicals of all time.
I mean, like co-directors count. This is one I actually didn't realize until you put it up. But JD, what do you say about Singing in the Rain?
again, similarly to Unforgiven, not so much. I do love Gene Kelly, and I do love musicals. When it comes to the Gene Kelly directed films, though, there are actually a lot of other ones I prefer over Singing in the Rain. There are certain things, not to say that this isn't good, it is. I just, and I may bring up a Gene Kelly directed one later. There are just other ones I prefer a lot more than to Singing in the Rain. And again, when it comes to the amount of spots we have, I just, no, I unfortunately.
Yeah. This is tough because I really do love Singing in the Rain. But I'm probably fuck it, I'm going to say yes. Kirk, what do you say about Singing in the Rain?
I just rewatched this the other day. I hadn't seen it in a long time, and unfortunately, I'm going to have to say no. There's something about this movie that just doesn't click for me. There are, like JD said, there are other Gene Kelly directed movies and stuff that he's done that I like a lot better than this. But this one is just too like cotton candy cookie cutter musical for me. So this one I'm going to say no to.
Oh, that hurts, but it's understandable.
But JD, it's on you. What's the next one you're going to bring up?
All right, I'm gonna go. I'm looking at my list, so give me a second. I'm going to figure out which one I'm going to bring up next. All right, we're getting down there. Do I go Clooney? Do I go Denzel Washington? Or do I go? You know what? This may get a no, but I stand by this. Joel Edgerton's The Gift. This is another horror movie that kind of caught me by surprise. Also, Jason Bateman, who's normally known as kind of like the comedy guy, caught me by surprise. So their kind of interplay and then like the ultimate twists. You know, some people feel about the twist one way. I actually really liked it. In general, for a directorial debut, I felt it was a very, very strong one. And I've gone back to it multiple times. I still think there's a lot that I really, really like about it. So that's going to be my next one, The Gift.
Yeah, I just saw The Gift for the first time the other day. I think it's a good movie, but I'm going to say no. Just because there's a few others that are on my list I think are more better, especially in the terms of the horror genre. Kirk, what do you say about The Gift?
Yeah, I mean, it's a fine movie, and I think that Edgerton does a good job directing it, and I'm excited to see more of his work. I think he is going to be a good director. I just think in terms of like all-time greatest, it doesn't quite make the cut for the 12, but I don't think it's a bad movie to bring up or a bad pick.
Richard, what would you have said about The Gift?
I also would have said no. It's an okay movie. There are better movies out there, especially in the horror genre, like you said, Malcolm, than The Gift. But it's not a bad choice, but it's definitely not a top 12.
But with that being said, it's on me, and I'm going for one of the ones I alluded to. Get Out is one that really surprised me when it was released. Directed by Jordan Peele, who's also really known for his comedy, and actually, no, for his comedy, Joe Edgerton isn't. But anyway, this is just one of those ones, especially at the time it came out, like, there really isn't a lot of prolific black actors that have turned into directing. But with Jordan Peele came in, got nominated for Oscars, galore with Get Out. And I think this is a powerful one, especially in this day and age. I think it resonates with the black audience a lot. I mean, I'm not going to say that I know this from experience myself, but I know a lot of people in that community who really do like this movie because of what it did. But Kirk, what do you say about Get Out?
Yeah, I mean, personally, like, I don't love this movie the way everybody else does. As much as everybody else does. But I still think it's really solid. I think the thing about this movie is it's really well directed. I think that's one of the strongest things about this is the direction, and I think for his debut to be able to do that and to craft a movie like this was pretty impressive. So I'll give this a yes.
Richard, what do you say about Get Out?
I didn't see this movie till about 2 years after when it came out, when all the hype, and it was still a good movie, even though for me, it didn't live up to all the hype, but it was still a really good movie, and it is very well directed. It's on my list. It's a yes.
It makes the list. JD, what would you have said about Get Out?
I would have said no. And it comes down to preference. I prefer Us.
I actually hate Us. I don't like it.
Yeah, I don't like Us at all. It's a real sophomore slump.
It just came down to personal preference. I was going to bring up Us.
But if that Get Out gets on the list, Kirk, what is the next movie you're going to bring up?
So I'm looking at how many slots we have left. So this is going fast.
There's 8, so there's 4 more slots.
Yeah, there's 4 more slots. So this is my last guarantee. If my movie makes it, which it probably won't, this would be my last guaranteed spot. But this is a movie I do want to talk about because I don't think anybody really thinks about this movie or who directed it. But it's a movie I love, and it is Run, Fatboy, Run, directed by all people David Schwimmer. I love this movie. It's Simon Pegg. He is just he's a very typical Simon Pegg character, lovable loser, just kind of like going through life, screwing things up. His ex-fiance, who they have a son together, is getting remarried to a career marathon runner, and to impress her, try to win her back, he's going to, he smokes 2 packs a day. He's a heavy drinker. He's going to try to run a marathon. It's a great sports movie, a great metaphor for sports movie. It's my favorite Simon Pegg character, my favorite Simon Pegg performance ever. I think it's a very underseen movie. I think it's a very underrated movie, and I love it a lot. Like I said, I know it probably won't make the list, but I wanted to talk about it, so I'm throwing it out there.
Richard,
I did not know David Schwimmer directed this movie. It's a hell yes for me. This is one of the most underrated movies of all freaking time. It is wonderful. It is very watchable. I just didn't think it. I didn't realize who directed it. So yes, I don't think it'll get on the list, but it's a yes for me. I love this movie.
JD, what do you say about Run, Fatboy, Run?
It's a no. It's a no. Again, it just comes down to the amount of spots that we have. No.
But with that being said, as a fat boy myself, this movie resonates with me a lot. I love this movie. Like Richard, I completely forgot that David Schwimmer directed this until I was looking up the Friends cast for something, and then saw that he directed this. But yeah, it makes the list. I'm saying yes. With that, we go back to Richard.
All right, so now we have to pretty much go for the guarantees. I mean, I have. I gotta go with The League of Their Own, Penny Marshall. I mean, you want to talk about one of the best sports movies of all times? Tom Hanks is phenomenal in this. Freaking what's her name? You know who I'm talking about, the main chick. What's her name?
Gina Davis.
Yes, Gina Davis is phenomenal. Rosie O'Donnell's probably Rosie O'Donnell's best performance in the movie. This movie? It's super funny. It's really good.
JD, what do you say about A League of Their Own?
I just actually saw this for the first time like want to say like less than a month ago. It's really good. I'm gonna be honest. This is a tough one for me. I really like it. I really do. I think it's gonna make it regardless whether or not I say yes or no. So I'm gonna say no and just leave it to the rest of you. But it's definitely borderline. I think if I had seen it, 6 months ago as opposed to a month ago, I think pretty confident yes on me. But I need more time to let it stew.
But yeah, I was just on Fantasy Film Fights this week where I talked about A League of Their Own as we were drafting Susan Sarandon and Jen Davis movies. But I love this movie. This is one of my favorite sports movies, and I'm not really that big into sports movies. But yeah, I'm saying yes. Kirk, what do you say about A League of Their Own?
Yeah, I can't say no to this. I understand where JD's coming from, and I'm a little bit on the fence with it too because it's another movie where I don't have the passion for it. Some people do, but it is just really. I mean, it hits so many. It has the comedy, it has the heart. A lot of great performances. Tom Hanks is great in it. It's just a really good ensemble cast, really good baseball story. Really.
And he's frozen.
Yeah. I knew it was going to make it regardless of whether I said yes or no. So I just, to be the contrarian, I just said no.
I don't know. I cut out there for a second. Do you guys hear me say yes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But JD, we go back to you.
So we got to go with the guarantees. I'm going to bring up a second Ben Affleck movie. I think it's arguably, I love me some Argo. I actually think this is arguably his best, and it was his first. Gone, Baby Gone. I really, yeah. I think the crimes when he does like crime and thriller, I think Ben Stiller does a really good job. Minus Live by Night, which was a rare flop for him, but like he did 3 really good movies and then like one shitty movie, and I still think that like the twist I didn't see coming. I think Casey Affleck is amazing in this. So is Amy Ryan. Yeah.
But I haven't seen this. Kirk, what do you say about Gone Baby Gone?
Okay, here's the deal. I really like this movie. If I had been made it on air in time when we were talking about Argo, I would have voted no to Argo because I would have brought this one up later. That being said, there are a lot of really good acting directors or directing actors that aren't going to be on this list, and it's hard for me to put Affleck on twice above all of them. So I'm going to, on that basis alone, I'm going to say no.
Which means, Richard, it's on you.
I haven't seen the movie, fortunately.
It's not going to make this list.
Insanity. Run, Fatboy, run makes it, but Gone Baby Gone doesn't.
Man, that's how I feel about Singing in the Rain.
Who brought up Argo?
He did.
Did you bring it up, JJ?
No, I think Malcolm.
I believe it would have been me that brought up Argo.
Yeah, you brought up Argo.
Yeah,
it wasn't me.
No, well, I was just working out the order in my head. But anyway, speaking of which, it's on me again. Right. I don't know if he's watching in the chat, but I'm bringing up a movie that has probably been the bane of many competitors in the family community. I'm bringing up Booksmart, directed by Olivia Wilde. This is a fun coming of age movie. I think every question has possibly been asked about this movie now, but I really love this movie. It is a fun coming of age movie, and yeah, there's not much more that I can say about it. That Caitlin Dever and what's her, the other one.
Beanie Feinstein or Beanie Fine?
Yeah, Beanie Feldstein.
Yeah, Feldstein. Yeah.
Are really great, and I hope to see more from them in the future. But Kirk, what do you say about Booksmart?
For me, this is a no. I like the movie. I think it's good. I think it's funny. But I do buy the argument that it is kind of derivative of a lot of other, coming of age, like raunchy teen comedies. Just put its own little twist on it. Like I said, I don't think it's horrible. I think Olivia Wilde will go on to do better things. But as far as, again, putting on this list, I'm going to say no.
Richard, what do you say about Booksmart?
I initially have it on my list. However, with the limited slots we have left, it's too similar to Superbad. Like, to a degree, like if you had told me this was a Superbad, just a parallel universe, it's a good movie, but it's Superbad Part 2. And there are other movies that need to get on this list before Booksmart does. So it's a no for me. It's a good choice.
JD, what do you say about Booksmart?
Yeah, it's a no. I also initially had it on my list, but yeah, no, I can't do it. Due to the limited amount of spots. If this was brought up earlier, I think it probably had a better shot. But yeah. If Gone Baby Gone can't make it, Booksmart, it's definitely not going to make it.
But next up, Kirk is up.
Okay, talking about coming of age, I want to bring up a movie. This is by somebody who is now known again, mostly as director, shows up in movies sometimes, but beginning of career was mostly TV, did some movies. Now he's directing a lot. And this was in a run he had that was legendary. My favorite movie of his, one of my favorite 80s movies, my favorite coming of age movie, Stand By Me from Rob Reiner. This is like I said, I think this is one of the greatest all-time coming-of-age movies. This cast, having four, preteen actors be the complete focus of your movies could completely fall apart just based on that, collapse under the weight of that. But they do such a good job on this. It's one of my favorite Stephen King adaptations. I think it's I think I've said this before that this movie says so much about what Stephen King thinks about life and childhood and growing up, better than any movie that's ever been based on anything he's made before. So I love this movie. I think it's fantastic, and put it out there.
Richard, what do you say about Stand By Me?
Even though it's not my favorite Stephen King movie, I can't say no to Stand By Me. It's a good film. There's been so many movies like that have been taken from this movie alone, like spoofs or so many iconic scenes in this movie, and I can't say no to it. It's a yes for me.
JD, what do you say about Stand By Me?
This is another one, like A League of Their Own, Stand By Me. These are a lot of ones that I just like in the last month I've watched. It's very, very recent for me, and it's very tough for me. I admit it's a good movie. Don't get me wrong. But again, it's another one where like if 6 months ago and this was brought up earlier in the list, I probably would have said yes. Not that I think this is ultimately going to matter, because I think this is going to make it regardless of my no, but I'm just going to be a no.
Yeah, you're damn right it's going to make it. I completely forgot about Rob Reiner personally. But yeah, Stand By Me is is a really great movie. It's definitely one of my favorite movies of all time. It's making this list. We've got one spot left. Richard, we're on you.
Well, I know this is not going to get through because there's probably one or two movies that have to be on here before it, but I'm just going because I love this movie. Still, it's probably my favorite Mel Brooks movie of all time, Blazing Saddles. Blazing Saddles is just so good, so funny. I know there's a few movies of his that other people would probably take over Blazing Saddles, but I love it.
JD, what do you say about Blazing Saddles?
You're darn right. There are a lot of better movies than Blazing Saddles. There's one particularly I'm thinking of that I'm going to bring up next that I rather have on the list than this, so it's going to be a no for me. But I won't complain if it makes it. I just prefer. There's another Mel Brooks movie that I quote endlessly, and that's going to be my next pick. So.
This is tough because on one hand, I just completely forgot about Mel Brooks. Yeah, I'm going to say no because I think there's a different Mel Brooks movie which I think is better and does belong on here over this.
That's fair.
But Kirk, what would you have said about Blazing Saddles?
Honestly, this is one I haven't seen the whole way through yet. So
this is just my personal favorite Mel Brooks film. I understand it wasn't going to make the list.
But JD, what movie are you going to bring up?
So funny you brought up Mel Brooks because, as I said, I kind of hinted at it last. Spaceballs. I'm bringing up Spaceballs. I love Spaceballs.
You picked the wrong group for that.
As a Star Wars fan, I have a sense of humor. I'm not very. I can have fun with my movies, and that movie to me, ludicrous speed. We need to comb the fields. I'm sorry. I love this movie. So Spaceballs. So
I think I know where this is going because I know Kirk very well. But I personally love Spaceballs. I'm saying yes. Kirk.
Yeah, I'm going to say no to this. And Malcolm does know me. I think Richard does too. I'm not a big spoof parody guy. I think Mel Brooks does it better than anybody because he's actually a little bit creative in what he has to say. Where he just thought, hey, remember this? Like a lot of times, not always. Sometimes it falls flat, but especially this movie, I think he does the best where he actually makes a comment about what he's parodying. But still, again, with this being the last movie in the last spot, this was going to be a no for me.
Richard, what would you have said about Spaceballs?
My last name is Schwartz. I've heard this movie all the time. I love Spaceballs, but Blazing Saddles is a better movie than Spaceballs. It's no. Like, I thought you guys were going to at least go Young Frankenstein, because that's, if not the closest, that could be even remotely as good as Blazing Saddles. I love Spaceballs. Don't get me wrong, but I even put it on a list on Your List Sucks back in the day when my favorite parody of space. I love it, but it's not as good as Blazing Saddles. So that's a no.
Alright, it's on me.
But yeah, it's Richard Schwartz, so it's Dick Schwartz. It's even worse.
I'm going to try and get this one on because I don't know how we've gone through this whole show without mentioning Ron Howard. Hopefully I picked the one that's going to resonate with everyone. I'm going for Apollo 13. Apollo 13 is a really good movie. It's one that I watched for the first time last year, but like you've got Ed Harris. For some reason, Ed Harris is there. Kevin Costner, I think, is in there. Anyway, I'm going to stop trying to name names now because, but this is a movie which is done really well. Like, Ron Howard's one of those ones that, especially lately, he's gone very hit or miss with his movies. Whether it's Solo or the Da Vinci Code series. So, yeah, this is going to be interesting to see how this goes. Kirk, what do you say about Apollo 13?
Ron Howard was somebody I wasn't sure because, I mean, he is so almost ubiquitously known as a director now. I know he has acting, when he was younger. Yeah. But we've done like Penny Marshall and Rob Reiner, so I think he's in that same boat of like TV actor. So I think he counts. That being said, I have Ron Howard movies that I like a lot better than Apollo 13. So this particular one, I'm going to say no to.
Richard, what do you say about Apollo 13?
This is going to be interesting. I have it on my list. It's My favorite Ron Howard movie. I'm gonna leave it up to JT because I'm gonna say yes.
JD.
Your guys are gonna hate me. Here's my problem. This is why I'm gonna say no, and it's I think you kind of hit it before. I don't consider him an actor. Like, I know he got his start in acting, but like, he did relatively few things as an actor. He is well more in my head a director than an actor.
But Andy Griffith Show is a huge role for him, and just because you didn't grow up with it doesn't mean other people didn't.
I just as I said, it's more of a, and especially in movies, he's not really that known as a movie actor. Again, he did a show. I know Happy Days, and again the Andy Griffith Show, but it said other than those couple things, he didn't really do that much acting. Like, he did American Graffiti, and that's really it. To me, that's why I don't really consider him an actor. Director, I consider him more just a director. And again, just do the amount of spots. I
mean, each to their own. But with that being said, Apollo 13 doesn't make the list, and we go back to Kirk.
I want to bring up another one. I think this is a great movie, but it's personal for me. We'll go back. It's a classic from 1955, and I didn't even realize this was directed by an actor until I was having a conversation with somebody about it a couple weeks ago, and they had recently watched it, brought it out to me. 1955's Night of the Hunter, directed by Charles Laughton. This stars Robert Mitchum as basically a serial killer. He disguises himself as a preacher and comes to this town. He was in prison with a man who had hidden some. I can't remember honestly if it's money or diamonds, something that he had stolen, hidden it with his kids. And so Robert Mitchum gets out of prison and kind of infiltrates his family. He marries the mother, played by Shelley Winters, and endears himself to the town, endears himself to the family. All the time, he's just like this evil, like soulless murderer he's going to kill these children and get the money. It's just a really great like rural noir movie that you don't see a lot of, and it's a great crime thriller, great drama. So I thought it was worth bringing up.
But yeah, this is one that I haven't seen myself. But Richard, what do you say about Night of the Hunter?
I have not seen it.
JD, what do you say about the Night of the Hunter?
I feel like this is a broken record. Haven't seen it.
But with that, we go back to Richard.
The only one I have here left is probably the one that's probably going to get on here, Citizen Kane. I mean, this movie is considered one of the greatest movies of all time. There are classes that are based on this movie. Orson Welles just directed this movie flawlessly almost. And I know people are tired of hearing Citizen Kane, but it's probably one of the greatest movies. I was trying to avoid this movie, but Citizen Kane.
JD, what do you say about Citizen Kane?
I really wanted to there was one movie I really wanted to bring up. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to do it, but I can't say no to Citizen Kane. I just can't. I've as somebody who, number one, watches Citizen Kane a couple times a year. Just personally, just to watch it. Somebody who also is one of the few people that liked Mink. I can't say no. So yes.
But yeah, Citizen Kane is a Citizen Kane of movies with Citizen Kane in the title. I really don't like this movie. I've watched it once, and once is enough for me. I did enjoy Mank and all that, but like Citizen Kane is just one of those ones that's just fine. I'm saying no. Kirk, what it's on you. What do you say about Citizen Kane?
Yeah, this is another one I wasn't sure about because Orson Welles has done so much, but he is primarily known as a director. I wasn't sure if this was going to count, but now that we're considering it, it's a definite yes. I mean, I don't think this is the greatest movie of all time, but I definitely think it's up there. I think it deserves the hype. And Malcolm, honestly, I would recommend a rewatch because I know the first time that I watched this, I wasn't that impressed with it. But the more times I have watched it, the more I've kind of caught on to what was going on, understood it. So, give it another chance. But yeah, I definitely think it deserves to be on the list.
There's definitely certain elements that are like of its time, but then there are other things that he did that are just like so jaw-dropping.
But with that being said, we have reached the end of the list. Just to recap what we've got Chef by Jon Favreau, That Thing You Do by Tom Hanks, Argo by Ben Affleck, Lady Bird by Greta Gerwig, Braveheart by Mel Gibson, A Quiet Place from John Krasinski, Unforgiven by Clint Eastwood, Get Out by Jordan Peele, One Fat Boy One by David Schwimmer, A League of Their Own by Penny Marshall, Stand By Me by Bob Viner, and Citizen Kane from Orson Welles. Kirk, did you have any honorable mentions?
I mean, there's a lot. For me, it wasn't so much movies. There were directors that I really couldn't figure out exactly which movie that like rose to top for him. Warren Beatty, Robert Redford, and Danny DeVito were the three guys I was kind of looking at, but I really couldn't just pick one movie from their filmography.
But Richard, you said so you don't have anything else you want to mention?
No, I do. I mean, I had Iron Man on here, but I already had a Jon Favreau one on here. I did want to put more than one. Antoine Fisher. I wasn't sure how you felt about Denzel in that movie. And these two weren't going to get on here regardless, but I love these movies. Head of State and This Is the End. But I know they're not top 12 material anyway, but fun.
JD, did you have any honorable mentions?
Yeah, I have a few. Good Night and Good Luck by George Clooney. I really enjoy. I didn't think this was going to make it just due to how recent it is, but my favorite movie of last year was One Night in Miami by Regina King. I just think due to the recency bias, it wasn't going to make it. Also, talking about, douchebag human beings, but directed really good movies. Sean Penn, Into the Wild. I remember watching that, really loving it. And then also Wildlife by Paul Dano that came out a couple years ago. Shockingly good movie with Carey Mulligan. So those are just a few.
I just watched Into the Wild for the first time today.
But for me, like I had 2018's A Star Is Born. But I had my favorite movie from last year was Promising Young Woman from Emerald Fennell. I had Boy Erased by Joel Edgerton. Little Woman is the another good group one I was considering, probably, but once again recent. Secret Life of Walter Mitty, directed by Ben Stiller, I think is a good movie.
Oh yeah, I didn't think it had a shot. That's why I didn't mention it. But,
and I also was having a really struggle with Robert Redford myself because I had like the ones I had written down was The Horse Whisperer, Legend of Bagger Vance, and Quiz Show, which I saw for the first time this week. And one that I didn't think was probably going to come up was Rip It by Drew Barrymore, but but I really do enjoy how fun that movie is. Some that have popped up into this chat. I mean, we've got Steven like giving us shit for One Fat Boy for One.
Yeah,
watch it. It's great.
I don't know why that I tried not getting it on the list. I thought there were.
Because it's a good movie. That's why it deserves to be on the list.
Really good.
But with that being said, we're going to get to the fun part of voting. And we're going to go around the board and write down what we think should be number 12 on a whiteboard or a bit of paper, whatever is handy. And JD's probably just turned his camera off so to get go his thing, but we'll go around for now. Kirk, what do you have for 12?
I said that thing you do.
You cut out for me,
Oh.
Kirk. What do you have?
That thing you do.
Richard.
Look, I'm just happy Run Fatboy Run just got on here, but let's just not get greedy.
JD, what do you have at 12?
Run, fat boy, run.
That's going to be number 12. I insist on Kane.
Hey, Star Drew. I was saying hello to Star Drew in the chat.
Oh.
Yeah. All right. JD, what do you have for 11?
Chef.
I've still got Citizen Kane. Kirk.
I said that thing you do.
Richard.
I also have that thing you do.
And that thing you do will be 11.
Let's see. Okay, what's next?
I've still got Citizen Kane. Kirk.
I said Chef.
Richard.
I'm just changing it to A Quiet Place.
And JD.
Chef.
Kirk, what do you have for 9?
I said A Quiet Place.
Richard.
A Quiet Place.
JD.
Chef. Sorry. Braveheart.
God, you really hate freaking Chef.
I forgot. I had a brain fart.
No, he really loves Chef. He's trying to get it. He's trying to move it higher by voting.
Yeah. Exactly.
JD, what do you have at 8?
Braveheart.
Citizen Kane. Kirk.
Argo.
Richard.
I have Unforgiven. It's the only one I haven't seen.
Which means we have a tie, so I'm going to go through the chat. The first one I see pop up in the chat. So I've got Argo, Braveheart, Citizen Kane, and the other one.
Argo, Unforgiven, Citizen Kane, and Braveheart.
And
we have...
yeah, but I was about to say Brian came in and he picked Citizen Kane.
Oh, but someone else picked Argo. Hold on.
I always usually come for the first one that comes that I see in the chat. And means I actually have to change my board. Kirk, what do you have for 7?
I stuck with Argo.
Richard.
I'm sticking with Unforgiven. Still haven't seen it.
JD.
Braveheart.
And Argo.
Well, you go Argo, you fuck yourself. Anyway. Sorry, I had to say it.
All right, Richard, what do you have at 6?
Going with the one I still haven't seen, Unforgiven.
JD.
Braveheart.
I went with Ladybird. Kirk.
And for everything left for me, I said Get Out.
So we've got another tie. So it's Get Out, Ladybird, Unforgiven, and Braveheart. The first comment I see pop up in the chat.
Get Out.
Get Out.
Get Out. And Get Out gets out of contention. But Stephen, we'll see if it makes it there. I'm not going to give away my hands. But Kirk, what do you have for 5?
I said A League of Their Own.
Richard.
I changed it up to Ladybird.
JD.
Braveheart.
Ladybird.
Haha. Strategy.
All right, just to recap what we've got left, we've got Unforgiven, Braveheart, Stand By Me, and A League of Their Own left on the board. But Kirk, what do you have?
A League of Their Own.
Richard.
Went back with Unforgiven.
JD.
Braveheart. I'm gonna go all the way to 1 if I have to.
No, I mean
all the way to 2 if I have to. I refuse
so
to.
we've got 4 left. The question is, did I make it a tie or did I go Braveheart?
Yes, yes. I refuse to honor that man with number 1. Sorry.
Well, see, you can't. That's biased. Then I mean, the guy's a piece of shit, but the movie's really freaking good.
I don't like the movie. That's where you and me differ. I don't like the movie, and on top of it all, he's a shitbag human being.
But
you just weren't alive when Mel Gibson actually considered a good person.
I was alive when Mel Gibson was considered a good person.
Okay. What's left? Sorry.
Unforgiven, Stand By Me, and A League of Their Own. Richard, what do you have for 3?
I gotta go with Unforgiven. I really love the other 3.
JD.
I have Stand By Me.
I've also got Stand By Me.
Oh,
Kirk.
Leave there. That's heartbreaking.
yeah.
That's the best movie left. That's maybe the best movie on the list.
But instead of going for number 2, we're going to write down what we think should be number 1.
What do we got left?
A League of Their Own and Unforgiven.
This is tough. This is really, really tough.
You know what my answer.
But JD, what do you have for number 1?
Unforgiven.
I've got Unforgiven. Kirk.
Yeah.
Unforgiven.
And Richard.
I just can't vote for the movie I haven't seen. I have to go with League of Their Own. I'm sure it is the best movie out of the last, but I'm like, I haven't seen it.
It's a great movie.
I don't like Clint Eastwood, but that is a fantastic movie. I can't deny that. He's not my cup of tea, but that's a fantastic movie. There's no. And a League of Their Own, I probably would have voted differently if I had seen A League of Their Own. As I said, maybe just like a few months later, or a few months earlier than I did, I think.
But yeah, it's one of those ones, and I know there's people going to be yelling at us when I put the poll up. Like, where's Kevin Smith? Where's Steven Spielberg? Like, I mean, Kevin Smith, we kind of discussed sort of before this, but he's one of those tricky ones in which he was acting and directing at the same time. So we didn't really know where to include him. So ultimately, we decided not. Like, as I said to them, bring him up if you want. We'll find out what happens then. But and Steven Spielberg has a few acting credits, but he is primarily known as a director. And I think his first movie on IMDb is a directing one anyway. So
yeah. And Drew, Apollo 13 was mentioned, but it got turned down.
But with that being said, I'm going to recap our top 12. At number 12, we got One Fatboy, One by David Schwimmer. At 11, we got That Thing You Do by Tom Hanks. At 10, we got Chef by Chef-Jon Favreau. At 9, we got A Quiet Place from John Krasinski. 8, we got Citizen Kane from Orson Welles. At 7, we got Argo by Ben Affleck. 6, we got Get Out by Jordan Peele. 5, we got Lady Bird with Greta Gerwig. At 4, we got Braveheart by Mel Gibson. At 3, we got Stand By Me by Rob Reiner. And at 2, we got A League of Their Own by Penny Marshall. And number 1 is Unforgiven by Clint Eastwood. But with that being said, we've reached the end of the list. I will have a poll up on the Facebook page in a bit. But Kirk, where can people find you online?
Find me online on Facebook. Anywhere you can find Malcolm, I'm probably lurking somewhere. And follow me on Letterboxd. That's where I like to have fun talking about movies.
Richard, where can people find you online?
You can find me on Facebook under Richard Schwartz, YouTube, Twitter under External Void, and around them fan leagues. I'm around.
And JD, where can people find you online?
On Twitter at JDDDomash. You can find all my fantasy or fan league updates on there.
And you can find me on Take Free Productions, where I host Rankum every Saturday night, and late night every couple of weeks. You can find me over in Full Metal. I host Full Metal Classic on Sundays and Full Metal Random. It's normally on Tuesdays, but it is going to be tomorrow as well. I haven't quite nailed down the time. I'm going to make sure I can get nailed down, but it's either going to be at 4 p.m. Eastern or 7 p.m. Eastern with a James Bond match. But until next time, keep listening shit.
Certainty of death, small chance of success. What are we waiting for?
Fellas, I feel this is my lucky day.
Brilliant.